Good evening, Free Enterprise fans. Welcome to tonight's club showcase, the Pink Puff League. I am Commander Leonhardt, and I am here with Sorbius, and our flag set is one of the favorites here in Pink Puff League. Right, Sorbius?
Absolutely, Commander. I am full of lamb curry, and I am ready to watch some puffs dominate the moon.
Yeah, this flag set is the Lunar Tour. It's a good one. there are 6 objectives, and they are the 6 spots on the moon, K value, and all of the LST altars. Now, because there's significant possibility for rudeness here, it's just required 5. You get 1 mulligan, but you still gotta deal with the other ones. And also, from a race standpoint, there's that tension of if you find the darkness before you think you're ready for the moon, how much do you gamble trying to find a soft moon spot to level up, or do you do some leveling before you ever set foot on the moon?
Yeah, it's that tension is very, very real because grind takes time. But if there's just a water hag or some officer soldiers or dark imps, and you have some hourglasses or something, you can just get your starter experience off of the ribbon room or any of the bottom of the moon spots. Personally, I'm hoping for a vanilla antlion in Cave Value.
I mean, antlion in Cave Value would definitely be a treat.
Vanilla Ogopogo would also be good.
Vanilla?
Some Mom Bomb action in the ribbon room to really throw off that XP, usual XP pinata there.
Yeah, so you're choosing violence, but to be fair, most people that don't actually have to run the seed do tend to do that, so, I understand.
It always makes it more interesting. What I'm hoping is our puffs will also choose violence and just absolutely destroy all of these moon classes.
Yes, absolutely. We've got our very own Cubs rule, handling things behind the scenes with the restrain, and we've got Tybalt the Gambler, taking care of tracking, lighting up all the buttons, lighting up the key items until we get to the Darkness Crystal, and then going after those objectives once our racers set foot on the moon.
Yeah, looks like we should be getting started any second now.
Starting Darkness for Panic.
I'm waiting for that. First, though, we gotta find out who Edge's friend is. Okay, Form's not bad.
It's legit. You got your White Mage. You're glad to see Val not on the moon.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna be a sigh of relief for all the runners that they won't have to deal with a Valvalis with a ton of HP.
And that Magma start. I haven't seen the flags. I don't think Force Magma is on, but assuming it's not, then now we know that we don't have to worry about a hook route. Let me go look at the flags real fast.
I'm pretty sure it's not a Force Magma, but yeah, that's also another sigh of relief that we don't need to get a hook route to potentially get our Darkness Crystal.
Yeah, no Force Magma, just K-Main, no free.
Looks like David's doing a little character shopping. We have Charlie checking out the Mist Cave. Notably, I believe last season there was a vanilla D-Mist with the Darkness Crystal. I think Charlie taking a second to just make sure that's not the case this time.
Yeah. Certain things burn you, and it takes you a long time to forget. I may have certain issues with a Water Hag at Baron N1.
Looks like we got Palom and Kane chilling out in the Cydia, and a Cecil and Watery Pass. So we have some strong characters available in these free character spots. Don't think we're going to have any trouble clearing this overworld pretty quickly.
No, it should be fine. I also like what David is doing. David has quickly hopped into a shop, picked up a few cabins and exits, and cleared out 3 grab bags. There's going to be a lot of stuff in there you don't really want, and you're going to meet inventory loss really quick if you don't do something about it.
Yeah, Charlie finding a boomerang and a longsword in Watery Pass. Definitely getting paid off for looting here. That'll be really nice for Edge.
Yeah, longsword a good pickup for damage, and boomerang can set up a back row lich.
David hitting those Watery Pass chests too. Launching the hovercraft on Charlie's side. Oh no, we're peeking the waterfall boss. Okay.
Yeah, continuing the search for Demist. Just getting this out of the way now so that you can't forget it. Oh, balls. That might also go. Yeah, now we're going to Neptune.
Yeah, there we go.
Like the efficiency. You're gonna land here for if you're gonna land here for the hook anyway, it's a good time to peek the boss, especially if you have no intention of fighting it. Though Edge might be fast enough to keep up with that waterfall boss, so if it had been demissed, you might have been able to take it.
Yeah, especially with the armaments we found for our Edge in said watery pass. Doll's interesting as a boss find. They don't give a ton of XP, much like Mom Bomb, but it is a very free fight. So having that not in the pool is something noteworthy.
Berserk now in chat pointing out that Reckless Charlie has picked up a mute knife, which, depending on what bosses we come across, could be very important. Also, is this even?
Not this one in particular, no. It's a Vanilla Edward joining the team. Looks like David went most of the way through Watery Pass and moved all of the back chests too.
Yep. And then making use of those exits that he picked up in Mysidia. Heading on his way. Charlie gonna check on Hobbs, looking for another character, and see what boss is there.
So if you're in Charlie's position, Commander, who are you hoping for character-wise to be up here on this Hobbs? I want to see Atella personally. Who are you hoping for?
You probably want Atella for D-Money, and I am not as wedded to D-Money as the general population. We've already got a Porum, but I could go for a Rosa.
Okay. I'm not necessarily thinking just for D-Money. Atella brings a lot of utility, and if you're running some of those free bosses on the moon, Atella gets the spells to deal with those without us having to find coffins or hourglasses or any of that kind of stuff.
That's a very good point. But I don't think either of us were looking for a Sid, and apparently Reckless Charlie wasn't either, because I don't think Ruby had even landed from his little jump before that reset hit.
Yeah. If that is Ruby, and I would actually want to know personally, Element's not the scariest boss. Ruby can be pretty nasty at some spots in the movie. But unless we already have means to make that Sid an anchor, I don't know that I'm all that excited about picking him up either.
Apparently will be the seat of the Mute Knives.
Yeah, that was Mute Knife number 2. Runax.
Yeah, no one is swinging yet. There's a Sid on Hobbs that could use it, but yeah.
If we find Magus Sisters on the moon, they're going to have a bad day with
really
Cecil
are.
and Mute Knife Edge.
Is that a Dragoon Spear casually chilling here in Antlion?
I don't think that can be the case in this flag set. I'm not sure what the treasure settings are, but
Yeah, fair. I could just be seeing things. But yeah, I did find it strange, like Dragoon Spear being tier 7. It's like that's got to be T Wild. Like I don't even think T Wildish will put 7.
it's a 1%er, I think. It's very not likely. Speaking of bosses that we'd rather see here than on the moon, here's Golbez on his comedy tour in Antlion.
Charlie getting a couple of quick knockdowns to make sure that his ninja stays standing for this fight. And we do, in fact, have Senator Crocodile at Baron N1, along with, I believe it was another Cecil.
Another Cecil's intriguing, but slogging through all those fish and alligators and whatever is not my idea of a good time.
So Cubs Rule pointing out that it's T Standard, in which case it was definitely not a Dragoon Spear. T Standard will give you anything up to 5 in an untrapped chest, no matter where it is.
Yeah, so probably a Dragoon helmet or Dragoon armor.
Yeah,
which I think are both
some bit of Dragoon armor. Maybe a Dragon Whip. I don't know. Let's look at the bottom of this. There we go. Dragoon
Dragoon
Gauntlets.
Gauntlet, yeah.
Okay.
Great piece of gear for that Cecil once he's a paladin, but unfortunately not a dart or a weapon for
Is that flag
and a
on?
spoon.
Is that flag on?
That flag is in fact on, and we have an Edward, who I'm no longer disappointed is in the party if I'm Charlie.
Yay!
Yeah, Possum in chat pointing out the Spoonbird is a force to be reckoned with. Eventually, it's about as hard as Crystal Sword Cecil, especially when you get some gear for him.
Yeah, multipliers tend to be the issue. But like you said, with gear, that can be fixed. Power shirts, good times. Crystal ring will even help a little bit, since Eddie can't wear strength ring or Zeus gauntlets, but yeah. Good times.
Disappointingly, you cannot wear a Zeus gauntlet.
Yeah.
Charlie's going to get the bad news that he does not want to do this Baron in. Oh, I checked the item shop first. Okay, he's going to sell off all the stuff from this kit now that he doesn't need.
Running out of room. Struggle is real. David's getting some coffins underground.
Oh, is
To
it
pick up? But that was all the dwarf stop was for. Just quickly check the shop.
Swing by Tamra, probably hoping to find sirens. Might do a couple with a coffin and see about some underground stuff.
Maybe even a job dwarf check.
There's those sirens.
You called it. And yeah, that as you pointed out, is a good combination.
No job dwarf today. Unfortunate. March, grab our freebie, see those bosses.
Yeah, and if David's going there now, David's probably not thinking about taking them on early. To be fair, it's K-Main, so not the only reason you'd want it is if you saw a Demist.
Yeah, Demist or something that's completely free, like King Queen Eblin, might be worth doing because you can get, tier 6, 7 gear from these key item checks. Not to mention a few starter levels for some of your characters.
Yeah.
But beyond specifically that one boss, I don't see either runner doing anything in this Feymarch.
Yeah, and that is a good point, that on T standard, your only hope of breaking out of tier 5 is to take loot from other than an untrapped chest. And you're not going to find many whammies on main checks, so summon's useful for that. And it's gated, so it's a bit higher.
We're not doing either of those bosses ever.
Yeah, a big enough stack of Star Veils could handle that Bahamut, but is it worth your time? Oh no.
Almost certainly no. Notable too, again, 2 relatively easy bosses on Earth, if not on the moon.
Yeah, could be shaping up for a root moon. But the only thing we've seen is Val that are relieved isn't on the moon.
Val and Golbez.
Yeah, fair.
Although Golbez in some of the moon spots is pretty free, he's just not fast.
Yeah. He's never fast, but yeah, if he's a White Spear altar or Murasame altar, the magic is low enough there that you're not too worried about it. But on the other hand, you're going to have to do all the work of taking him down, so...
Yeah. Even in spots like Urapogo, where there is a high magic stat, that means Golbez does more damage to himself. You just have to get that Star Veil up. Our first check on the Ordeals bosses on David's side. Looks like we got an Octopus.
Yeah, another kind boss on the moon. By the time you get there, this is one that isn't quite free, but is pretty cheesable if you find it on the moon and you're a little weak. If you've got some white magic that can get you some blink set up, and you can get 3 or 5 hits in and start lopping off tentacles, and eventually that Octoman will slow down and you can turn the corner.
Yeah, Octoman only really does one thing, which is slap you about the face and neck with tentacles. He does not have any spells, doesn't have any AoE or anything fancy, just punches.
No tricks. Only punch. There are a surprising number of bosses in the game that are no tricks, only punch. And it's what makes having Cecil cover strats as an option very useful.
Yeah, absolutely. Having the Cecil already available to our runners is a huge boon. Being able to build the moon with that is doesn't necessarily make fights faster, but it can definitely make a lot of fights completely free if you have enough heavy armor for them.
Yeah, and that's the sort of thing our runners might be thinking about if they're looking to make that early run to the moon with lower XP.
Yeah, it's exactly what we were talking about earlier with that tension between, if you have a strong party and strong gear, do you try to find something you can cheese and get your levels, or do you take the time to buy and do some sirens, or do a quick D-machine grind, or whatever else tickles your fancy as far as grind options?
I approve of the continued vanilla.
Is this 2 scoops now or 3?
I think we're at 3. We had Edward, and is it only 2?
Maybe this is number 2.
There's Edward and Mylon Z. Maybe it's only 2. Getting ahead of myself.
It's understandable. We're excited about vanilla.
While we're pondering the vanilla, Reckless Charlie, Cudgel is noted, is picking up some drain spears. They're a very nice dart to get through some early annoying fights quickly.
Yeah, also notably minus 10 agility. If we don't find another anchoring solution, if we just stop getting levels on that cane and slap drain speed on it, that's a reasonable enough anchor for most of the moon.
Yeah, that could get the job done. Gonna have to keep him down most of the time, though. He's a speedy boy. He'll pick up some agility before too long. If we can cut it off, I'd say, when Kane is somewhere around 18, and the drain spear puts him at 8, and that's reasonable.
Especially when you're trying to anchor a Cecil and an Edge, who are themselves pretty quick.
Yeah, Cecil and the Edge won't have a problem, but mages would like things not to get too out of hand.
Charlie set up shield 1. David getting a tower key, I think, from the deals. I didn't notice if David also set up shield 1 or not. It'd be interesting to see if that tower key pushes him back underground.
Well, there's your King Queen Evelyn.
One more free boss out of that pool for the moon.
This is shaping up to be a rude moon, potentially.
At least more than 2 spots, hopefully.
Reckless Charlie is gonna heal up and then talk to a white chocobo. A little slower than a tent, but gets the job done.
And be absolutely blessed by that chocobo chest with that ninja sword.
Never mind. Heck the white chocobo. We don't need a white chocobo. We got a ninja sword.
Notably, a tier 5 ninja sword is extremely good, and great pull out of that often skipped chest.
Yeah, it's the best we can do on T standard for Edge, really.
Runners going to be high-fiving each other, or already had high-fived each other coming off of their deals.
You figure out
Kane and giving him a rune axe this one around.
Yeah, that works. You figure at some point David's going to make his way over to Antlion and pick up that spoon. It's one thing Charlie's already done that David hasn't.
And David not having that Edward, if he never goes and, grabs that character out of Dempsey, and he may not even notice that that spoon is, a relevant pickup.
Mm-hmm. But even though Charlie's got the spoon, he's still keeping Edward on the ground and serve as an anchor.
Just possibly an anchor, possibly thinking about slingshotting Edward off of the siren. possibly
Fair.
and some gold dragons or something like that.
Yeah, slingshot's fair. Edward needs all the levels he can get just to stand up to the rigors of combat.
Yeah, with that slingshot, he will have dozens of HP. Literally dozens.
Maybe even a dozen hundred, if he's lucky.
Maybe.
Hey, it's a dark elf. Invading Fabul.
I keep saying this. Relatively easy boss on Earth.
Right? Dark elf can surprise you a little bit with those punches in phase 2 if you want to have a quick way through it. But compared to some other options, yeah, Dark Elf is definitely somewhere mid-tier.
Dark Elf, notably very weak to holy weapons. There are several options for Cecil that fit that bill, and also in the dragon form, weak to both stopping, which by the time you're on the moon, that pound and a half stop, which would have made that relatively free fight anywhere on that great rock in the sky.
Oh. Well, speaking of rocks, we have a party rock.
Yeah. This is another interesting point of tension. We have a very strong party. Zod is a relatively long check. Are you doing this party rock personally, or are you gonna chase this tower key and some of the quicker checks you have access to?
That's a good call. Very good question. The other question on my mind before we even get to Zod is the treasury itself, because T Standard is probably one of the least appealing flag sets to raid a treasury on. You know it's just a massive collection of T5 loot. So, it might be early enough to go for it, but it's really debatable. But as for the tower itself, this party's serviceable. If I'm, again, Rosa just gets ready for Z with a little less work than Aurum. It's really a hit points issue more than anything else. That might be the thing that might tempt me into it, is that if I can find Rosa, combine that with Cecil, Power Couple needs a little less work to be Z ready than, say, Kane or Porum does because of the hit point issue.
Yeah, that's definitely a fair point.
But it's definitely a thing I could see going either way.
Absolutely. And to your point about the T Standard Treasury, I'm interested to see if David even goes and opens it.
Yeah. But yeah, those are the choices for the runners to advance. There will be Zod if you've done Fabul. There's no longer keyless tower underground, but just straight up hit both parts of tower, and there's Dwarf Castle waiting.
Yeah, I think the routing is going to work out a little smoother for Charlie. I believe he's going to go turn in Shield 1 right now and do the full defense and get that Earth Crystal.
Yeah, totally makes sense. And we do not have a warp glitch on, so there's no hope of turning Dwarf Castle into a double.
Charlie purchasing a Soma drop. I think still holding on to the I hope there's a Teledream. Unless we're giving KNMP for the memes.
Exactly.
David finding his spoon. Without Edward, I have a feeling David's a little less excited about that spoon.
Probably.
Charlie fighting the Fugul Mountain bosses. Nope, we're going to turn in the Sheila 1 check first. Oh, I think.
And then we'll worry about a Dark Elf.
What you got, Sheila? Okay.
Alright, well, that's much more significant with a warp glitch off.
Yeah, it's a nice quick underground check. It takes about a minute to run down and see what that key item is.
Yeah, I mean, if it's part of a chain, you're committed to trying to get it out of there. But there are a lot of times where you just might leave it. If it's not likely to be a whammy with only K main on it. But you'd probably leave a package behind, or sand ruby.
Or Legend Sword. Or even the Pink Tail. I'm not sure you would block out at that point.
Yeah, without a hook in hand, Pink Tail's questionable. Yeah. Smith is a super smith, so it's gonna be some big weapon, but you have no idea who it's for. So, might be a little more tempted by the Legend Sword. You feel like rolling the dice with Cold.
David taking some eggs. Probably trying to get up to Blink and or Quake before attempting Dwarf Castle, or top a tower, perhaps.
Yeah. If you're gonna take on the underground, it's a good time to start powering up. There's a significant step up in power between ungated overworld and underground spots, with the obvious exception of the super cannon room.
Yeah, much
Here we go.
Yeah, the top of tower spot having about 20,000 HP, which is 5 times the first ordeal spot, so yeah, a notable step up in boss difficulty.
And it's pretty punchy, but it has abysmal magic. There are some bosses whose specialty is in magic attacks that are just downright sad at that spot.
Odin, for example.
Yeah, Odin's a great example.
Doing Thunderstruck strats with Sid versus Odin at that spot, it's always a good time.
Very memey.
David taking a safety save here atop the tower. I don't blame him.
Always be saving. Speaking of Thunderstruck, Reckless Charlie picking up a stack of Thor Rages, and Troya could be useful for that. Also, if there's an angry turtle on the moon.
Yeah, Kanazo, one of those notable, much more difficult on the moon bosses. Not very pleasant in a lot of places on the blue planet either, but extremely unpleasant at, say, the Ribbon Room or Cape Value.
Yeah, just anywhere with a lot of hit points, you're gonna have to do a lot of work just to make the waves safe, because that is an attack that deals damage based on Kanazo's hit points. And you mentioned Cave Value. If you are busy nerfing the waves with lightning, you're taking punches in between, and Cave Bahamut is as punchy a spot as it gets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reckless Charlie has no time for the treasury. That's understandable. Oh, hey, speaking of punchy bosses.
Well, here's our first rude boss that could be on the moon that's here instead, so that's a good sign. Charlie giving us a look too at what's inside, so interesting to see. It's interesting to see his divergence in our runners about it.
One of our longtime community members, Antidale, put up a chart about Evil Wall that David can't take advantage of. I don't know if you can hide out an Evil Wall in this spot.
Based on the damage it's putting out, I would say probably not.
Yeah, it looks like it now. Granted, that's damage reaching into a back row. Ooh, there's more of a punch.
Actually, seeing that punch, maybe.
Yeah, that was 535 into the back row. Yeah, probably not. Might be one of those knees help places. Yeah, then that's what Cubs rule is letting us know in chat.
Oh, David opting to just throw the spoon into this evil wall.
I mean, it's 10 grand, and this is a spot with a lot of hit points. If you're committed to this party, that's about all the spoon is good for. And
yeah. It's a very aggressive play. I'm here for that. If you have darts, use them. Save yourself that time. Also, we're resetting out of this if this isn't something we want to chase, so we just get that spoon back if this isn't kind of value.
Yeah, that's another very good point.
I'm trying to take it away from the plague.
Plague's pesky if you don't see it coming. And especially if, like,
Go in with your edge anchor.
edge still anchoring? Because a fast anchor is not what you want against plague. Yeah, that just makes it tougher.
Okay, we're gonna try to use edge's speed to get a star veil off. There we go.
Alright, that'll
get us through.
Now it's free. Get that initial star veil up, and plague will always see an edge without numbers, and we'll try and do something about it.
Top tower is giving us
Package, and David's gonna keep it. This is closer to 10 p.m. Yep. Experience isn't too bad there, but with a pocket full of sirens, I doubt that was the consideration.
I think what we're really looking for is to find a pan from this tower.
Yeah, pan will be good. I mean,
Get that double dip.
yeah, you'll get the good loot out of Sylphs in case summon is off, and you'll get a key item out of the tournament. Well, there's someone we were talking about possibly being on the moon, but instead is just hanging out here in the Super Cannon room.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm disappointed.
That's fair. And Ribbon Quest pointing out that package could have the demist. Required demist at package would, the Puff Queen would approve, no doubt.
That is, yeah, a whole other level of Ribbon I'm here for it. Alright, Charlie's defeated the plague, and there's another edge, and Kanazo is our boss at the back of Dwarf, so Kanazo not on the moon.
So that's one less concern for our runners. Shaping up to be a rude moon, but now it's easing a little bit.
Yeah,
could
now
still be Bygone up there.
We're swinging back towards a medium moon.
Yeah.
Iridia. Be interesting to see if Charlie picks up this Iridia to use as an anchor.
Oh hey, tower key is how you get your darkness.
Well, good news for David. Soon to be probably good news for Charlie. I suspect that's where he'll be going next. Maybe after peeking the key.
Yeah, you got 8 sirens. You just go to town here.
It's like these Lunars here at the top of the tower. Or the Tower of Zion. Fortunately, not a spot with a lot of health. But definitely a spot with a lot of magic power. You do not want to start the virus script in this spot.
You really, really don't. It's one of those spots in the vanilla game where magic isn't used for damage, but to land statuses. Those spots tend to have the magic through the roof to make sure it hits.
I'm going to throw in the kitchen sink with this last dragon skeleton.
Yeah, and once we get to this, once we're down to 1, he just counters with that percentage-based fire every time taking damage, so slows you up a little bit, but
Probably from the last one. I'm not sure I agree with that. Unless there was a third moon knife. It's possible there was a third one that I missed.
I mean, maybe.
Wolf and a dragon on David's side.
Yeah, I think David's out of coffins and is looking for enough damage to two-shot the dragon. Wasn't quite there, but should get through this first one fine, and every bit of power makes future dragons safer. I don't have a sand ruby.
Definitely not the key item Charlie wanted to see. We're going to go peek it though. Maybe hoping to find a food.
Yeah, probably worth a look. I mean, you went through all that trouble to go through Earth. You're already probably thinking, you know, I want to see these two characters. What's another look for a third character?
Drum roll, please. It's another edge. Barely have the equivalent for the one we have.
What are you gonna do? Wake him up for the black belt? I don't think that's gonna happen.
No black belt. We're on C Neki on this flag set.
Oh, well then, definitely not gonna wake him up. Wake him up for the, what did Edge start with? Probably a charm.
One poison claw.
Oh, poison claw. Well,
not even advancing that.
Reckless Charlie staying away from the...
Yeah, I mean, we have the power to get through this now easily with Flame Cast from Edge. And since we did the Earth Crystal, I think Charlie's just thinking, I'm going to double down on all the Earth checks, all the topside checks, and worry about underground if I don't find all evidence.
Yeah, that's valid.
He'll be going probably into panic mode when he gets it from that tower key when he gets around to it, but...
Yeah, because you know you've had it all along, and you know that with a Cecil showing up that there's plenty of motivation to do ordeals, so he's definitely got, when he comes across it, has got to be wondering. For what it is worth, no one has finished yet.
That's fair. That would be quite an impressive finish to get through in these seats in 35 minutes.
And Mike giving us a fun fact, the electric fish do in fact float. They also absorb lightning, which is less surprising based on their name. They're really pesky fish overall.
They are. They have very different elemental properties from the other things that are on screen. Weak to arrows and spears because they are flying. Much like Mylon Z, who is a bird, if you all didn't know that.
Zombie bird.
I'm not a bad roll in that Grimoire.
Yeah, effort's fine. Softens up the worm enough that Spoonlord finishes the job. We just really didn't want anything silly, single target there like Chocobo or
Sylph with that awful long animation time.
Well, hey, it's not a bygone on the moon.
See, now we're running out of rude bosses for the moon.
Yeah, the Mom Bomb you mentioned. Yeah, the Mom Bomb you mentioned is still an option. Magus Sisters down at the Ogo altar is fun. In quotes.
That's a word you could use.
We haven't seen Blarg.
That's true.
Lord Goober, the Darkness Crystal is the reward for completing the Super Cannon. CPU could be time-consuming, especially since the kitchen sink was thrown out a long time ago. But
yeah.
Probably not a wipe threat. We also still haven't seen Ogo.
Yeah, CPU at some place like K value would be an interesting tension point again. You know, it's free, but it definitely isn't fast. So do you take it since you're here and it's free, or do you hope that there are 5 faster, easier, or at least faster bosses further down in the moon?
Yeah, that is...
I think we're going to find out real quick what's over at K value on David's side, too.
right? And Reckless Charlie with the Twin Harp. Charlie might chase, partly to give the stream the music check, and also because once you make a check, you hope it pays off. And that Twin Harp might be enough to pull away. It is a lengthy check.
It is, but I wouldn't fault Charlie for doing it since we've already spent the time doing Zod.
Mm-hmm.
We're sort of committed now to doing all of these longer overworld checks that you think other people are going to fail. I think that might be Reckless Charlie's strategy in this race.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, as we said before, when you're only chasing one thing...
Oh, 3 cave value. There's a water hack here.
Okay, yeah. That's free at these levels.
I mean, you might not get XP on your whole party, but you should be able to get your 3 hits in before he takes out more than 2 of your characters.
And if he decides to go after your high hit point people, you might have to do the job of knocking out your anchor yourself. Bam!
As you mentioned before, this spot does not pull any punches.
It really does not.
Yeah, we did see Edge take 500, but I believe he has a black belt on and some other gear.
Cecil going for a cover, keeping Kane standing. But we're gonna get through. David's gonna get the XP where he wants. Here in a little bit, we're going to have music. Reckless Charlie set up everybody magnetized so that he can go straight into the cutscene.
Value and cave value that class has. Well, nice. You said it's about time for us to be quiet and let music get played.
This is not the only song in this world. Someday you will see.
I'm not familiar with that piece of music, but it was very nice.
It was, but I'm just gonna say Xenogears, just because the odds.
A rat tail. Well, without a hook, that's not a very compelling item.
Nope.
Alright, David's gonna show us the Murasame altar.
This is not a high magic spot. We are not impressed.
David did have 3 mute knives, so I believe Charlie still has one. Also, I believe the Lunar Dais was another edge, bringing our edge total to 4.
You are correct. Almost enough mute knives for all of them. Charlie just taking checks in order. This is a reasonable order of operations. Just going for increased scale of difficulty with the bosses and marching through the checks. Just doesn't happen to play out with where these key items are, but the move makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, as we like to say, rando and a rando, but certainly there's a very logical sense the way that Charlie is attacking the seed and wanting to make.
Yeah, it's the sort of gambling play you might see on this sort of flag set, is when there's literally just one thing you need, but you also understand not wanting to make that move.
David not having any problems with these Magus sisters, just taking a minute to finish taking them out. Another boss is weak to mute knives.
And they're both going after that Porum with the wall up. I mean, this was over for you when you lost Cindy, but that still doesn't help.
And David is through, giving him 2 altars completed. Let's see what we've won. Alright, that is a nice item to have.
Yeah, there's still a chance to find a punchy boss hanging out in here somewhere, and that would be nice to deal with.
Yeah, as we mentioned, David used all his coffins for those eggs, so something like Dark Imps at Poker Altar could pose some danger.
Yeah, there's some stabby imps. Put them in a stabby spot, they get 3 swings, and bad things can happen to you. So, it's a Fu, a dwarf.
It's not a bad pickup.
No, I definitely take Fu.
Came with Nuke.
So, that is the good news for Reckless Charlie, is that he'll be able to blow up everything else that he comes across. But, is it going to be enough to catch up today?
Yeah, I mean, the good news on that front is that Charlie's also not going to struggle with those first 2 moon spots. So it's just a question of if David struggles some down here, and if Charlie's able to capitalize on that.
Well, we've got a break in the action. I thank once again Cubs Rule for handling the restream. Little hiccupy at times, but not bad at all. And it happens to the best of us. And it's really not his machine's fault anyway. Comcast doing Comcast things. Tybalt handling the tracking. And Sorbius here doing comms with me. It's been good.
Oh. I thought it was just me losing the stream for a second, but glad to hear it is not, in fact, a problem on my end.
It's not you.
What did I miss over the last 30 seconds?
It was a pink tail and dwarf.
Okay. Fortunately, once again, not that exciting without a hook to turn in with.
Yeah, so where is that hook? Sealed cave? Yeah, sealed cave? Baron Castle? Or is it Baron into?
I'm predicting it's Luca into Baron into the pan, which will then
makes sense. And all of that's going to keep Charlie further and further away from the Tower of Babel. Oh hey, those imps you mentioned.
Oh, he has hourglasses. These are not.
Yeah, he wasn't on hour, but we're seeing that stabbing coming in. It can be some stabby imps. Make no mistake.
Yeah, the White Spear Altar notably another spot with really high attack power. Not quite as much as K value or the Leviathan spot. It can certainly put the hurt on.
Yeah, all spots that in the vanilla game just don't attack at all, so they just decided to give it high attack power for reasons. FF4 life.
Yeah, I've always wondered what the specific reason is for that. I'm sure it's some kind of memory saving thing somewhere in the code. Skull Kitty might know, but I'm not sure that she is around. Alright. David almost through these Dark Imps. Let's see what our Luke Cave boss is.
Oh, Tanzo at the White Spear Altar. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Oh, it's a pass. No chain. So...
Looks like we're gonna... Well, perhaps we're making sure this isn't demissed before we leave.
Yeah, that might be the case. Yep, you called it. Resets out the moment we see that. Oh, and there's Burb. But it is a... You know...
Oh, it's Wishburn.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Interestingly, maybe more dangerous than Mega Nuke at this spot.
This might be.
That's
know.
gonna be
I
our
know
mulligan, I think. I think we're
I
gonna
don't
check
know
the
if
other
it
altars
just
now.
missed the front row or if Charm has been changed. But I've seen Charm hit my whole party at times. it's a
The
very
way the
rude.
Witchburn abilities work, there might be a back row only charm spell somewhere that Wyvern has.
Yeah, some of them are deliberately set to one row only because of the rudeness. Fission comes to
There
mind.
we go. No one got charmed that time.
Yeah. Edge had a wall up and it missed for him. Now Charlie is making the way to the tower and is on the right track.
Even with that Witchburn being somewhat friendly, this still isn't a great spot to fight this Wyvern. It has a lot of health.
Yeah, and that means you're forced to play Nuke Roulette eventually, and just go with life potions. But party's properly anchored. I don't see David losing to this unless something goes really, really strange. But it's definitely going to take a while.
Arcane isn't berserked. Alright, we're not quite at the hope and pray mode, so we have the ability to get people back up.
Yeah, but David taking the aggressive play, just pushing for it, not gonna toss. I know I saw David at one life potion, but I thought maybe there was another stack, but there just might not be enough life potions to play life roulette with here.
Yeah, and that could definitely pose a problem. We're not putting out a whole lot of damage, and this spot has 42,000 HP. Let's see if Edge survives this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Edge doing a good job dodging. And Popping back out to the surface to heal up. Did get through the ribbon room. Just needs a crystal sword altar or a Masamune altar.
Did we happen to see what he got out of the ribbon room? I had to refresh the stream to catch back up.
Yeah, I had to refresh. I missed what the rewards were from the ribbon room. But yeah, and apparently the exit out says no camping gear, so we gotta take another walk down. Stings a little bit.
Charlie, you're gonna get the bad news very shortly that you could have had moon access quite a while ago. Apparently, according to the chat, it was a crystal ring, which is very nice, and an arty bow, which we're not going to make much use out of.
Yeah.
Charlie will probably appreciate that crystal ring more than David. As you mentioned earlier, it's one of the few hand slot items for Edward that boosts his attack multipliers.
Yeah, and it's just excellent defense in general. The numbers it has for physical and magic defense are solid. You've got dragon resistance and resistance to paralyze, I think, hanging on there.
Alright, looks like David's opting for the Masa altar. I'm wondering if we're going to see just a swag walk down to Zeromus once we've defeated that boss there. Certainly have the levels.
And now it is time for Charlie to set foot on the moon.
Interesting to note, on your way down to Zeromus, on one of the floors, you can siren up breaths, which do not do anything to hurt you, as long as you don't cast spells on them. They have a lot of HP and are very resistant to attacks, but they are a completely free grind that's worth a couple 10,000s of experience.
And yeah, this is just a messy fight. If your back row glitched, then at least you can deal with that. Given how stingy David was with life casts during the Wyvern fight, I don't see YOLO strats happening here.
No, I think we're going to take this nice and slow and just chip away at that back orb while doing the party with Orb.
Charlie grabbing.
Oh, good.
Charlie grabs a last-minute anchor with Howlin and thanks Spoonward for his service. And is still working on the party.
So we've opted for Rydia as an anchor. At these levels, I don't think it makes much of a difference. They're both going to make the whole team Belted Agility 1. But CPU a boss notable for allowing experienced runners to find new and interesting ways to wipe.
Yes. David's taking a very straightforward approach to this fight, which is advisable under the circumstances, except the fact that your CPU is in the back row and that you're just going to have to chip through and heal the percent damage. But, jeez. So many options. You can just YOLO, you can berserk it up and cut through the orbs and revive the Globe 199s. What are some other interesting ways to take out CPU?
Yeah, when Charlie gets there, he'll have the option of casting Medio.
Medio. Swag rocks.
You know, doing 10, 15,000 damage to that back orb and then casting Medio. And hoping for the best.
Also, if you're zerking up, you can cast Blinks on the attacker to try and slow down or avoid the Globe 199s altogether.
Also notable, you can attempt to reflect a float onto one of the smaller orbs, so you can then quake the large orb.
Ideally, the attacker, but yes.
Ideally, yes.
Because even if you get that on the defender, great. You can kill the attacker and now you're safe from damage, but that 10% heal every action is just horrific to chew through. You're doing this to speed the fight up.
Yeah, unless you're throwing multiple quakes. That might not be any faster than what David is doing. Charlie taking some eggs. He is at 10 key items. This will go pretty quick. I think we're trying to get Alan. Oh, it looks like Andridia up to nuke before we go to the moon.
Yeah, or at least get him partly along the way and let the moon finish the job. But one thing, Charlie will have a very quick Z fight if he gets everybody to nuke. 3 nuke casters on reflect strats. Ooh boy.
Yeah, sign me up for that, buddy.
A little bit of tech there from Charlie, knowing that the Elven Bow gives +5 to Wisdom if you've got arrows equipped alongside it. Not a obvious move for a black mage magic caster, but useful.
David his crystal and a life staff. A nice willpower boost for Porum, and a little bit more magic defense for her for this Zeromus fight that we're about to see.
Yeah, get a little more give her a little more help in surviving those big bangs. And yeah, David's gonna have to walk this back and save. It's the right call. You do not want to repeat that CPU fight.
Yeah, I mean, you're David at this point, and no one's done yet. There's no reason to set yourself up to lose, several minutes to wiping to Zeromus by some unfortunate circumstance and have to retake that CPU fight.
Although 1,300 hit points on this Porum, oof.
It's enough to survive a nerf Big Bang.
Yes, a nerfed Big Bang you survive outright, assuming you don't eat the counter nuke leading up to it. But an unnerfed Big Bang, that's an ask. That's a big ask. Like 2 dodges and a very low roll, you could pull it off. 4 dodges, you'd be fine. But I don't think that Warren has the gear for 4 dodges.
No, I don't think so either. We don't really have a lot of power on our berserkers either.
That's a good point too.
This is going to be a fast and loose, or a not so fast and loose Zeromus fight.
Yeah, I think David realizes the situation and is looking for a little more help. Discovering that behemoths have the boss bit, and they cannot be hourglass. The behemoths in the trap chest, and the red dragons, and the 1 blue dragon in the trap chests are considered bosses. It was a worthy attempt.
I mean, you're not using those hourglasses for anything else at this point.
Exactly.
Behemoths notably punch pretty hard, but don't do a whole lot unless you hit them.
Yeah, in this case, they'll do a fair amount. Behemoths are one of the cases on the moon where ideally you'd have a fast anchor. Granted, you don't know that going into the trap, so can't really set up for it. But they're so slow that if you run with a cursed anchor, a traditional setup, you're actually giving them enough time to get a turn in when they would ordinarily just counterattack.
Yeah, it's one of the few times where having that cursed anchor versus just someone at 7-rate agility is actually relevant.
And now here is something you can hourglass.
Yeah, this is Not the rare encounter, but certainly not the common encounter down here. But if you do a little fishing, you can find this double dragon fight and pick up some XP.
And Cubs Rule pointing out that yes, behemoths are a great thing for Cecil cover strats, and Glass Hat in the back row, even as punchy as that behemoth is, Cecil will be feeling no pain. You just got to get other people down into critical, or just have him use the cover command.
Yeah, just manually cover edge.
Yeah, or whoever you're worried about. If Edge is going to Zerk, then yeah, he's not going to be able to use Image to keep himself covered. Maybe have Porum take care of Blink Nudie. But you probably want levels on Porum more than anyone else right now. That's the linchpin of this Z fight, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely true. I was actually thinking that Trap Chest's attempt was more to try to find a weapon for the Cecil.
Oh, that's fair. Could have been
even a light sword or a defense sword, not even necessarily the full holy sword experience, but Poison Axe, not Cecil's best piece of gear.
No, it's not. And then it might have been, it could have been a little of column A, a little of column B. I've definitely, not on this flag set, but just in general, there have been times I've been wandering to the moon and like, I need a little more XP, and I need better gear for my party. Moon trap chests can pull double duty here.
And most of them can be hourglass, just not the behemoths or the dragons.
Yes, most of them can. Your warlock carries, your red giants, your warlock fossil. A lot of them hourglass is perfectly viable.
I think David's just trying to get Porum up to however much XP he possibly can. Or however much HP, rather, he possibly can before attempting this Zeromus fight.
Yeah, he's probably got a number in mind where he's comfortable taking Porum into the fight and is just gonna go once he gets enough. And as Cubs Rule is pointing out in chat, getting Cure 4 will also be nice.
Yeah, I think we have Cure 4 already, if I'm not mistaken. Porum's HP is pretty bad.
It really is. Rose is almost ready for unnerfed Big Bangs when she gets Cure 4, but Porum might need a little more work.
Cubs has been paying much closer attention than us. Porum is at level 47, which is one shy of Cure 4.
So this one will do it.
There it is.
And we're at 1479 for hit points. It looks like Cure 4 is what was being chased. So here, a little better. A little better for if you miss the nerf.
Apologize for the preemptive Zeromus call out earlier.
Alright.
Apparently now we're heading to Zeromus.
So yes, now once again the Z flags are showing up in chat. I think that means something, right?
Well, it's not nap time for me.
Same
I'm
here.
actually going to work in a couple hours.
Almost bedtime for me, but it's not yet. It's time for Z facts, right? Fun fact: Z is the 26th letter of the alphabet.
C is called Z in Canada.
Oh, that's why we call it Mylon Z. Ow! Okay, no more newspapers. Zeromus. The crystals used on him, he will transform into a random sprite. Most of those have been put into the game by our own art dev, Scala Kitty. And because of that, there is a question that we tend to ask at this time. What is that question?
Whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Oh, yeah!
Also, notably, the Zeromus sprites are mostly Sephiroth by volume.
It's true. It's an incredible percentage of Sephiroth. See also who the art dev is. But in the meantime, Reckless Charlie getting an objective, taking out that water hag at Cave Bahamut on the way to the LST.
That is not Sephiroth, that is a large cat.
But that is a cute! So cute! Oh! So cute!
Yeah, that damage coming out of Cecil, not the amounts you were looking for on your Zeromus fight. Edge is doing some work though. I think we'll probably be okay.
And even trying to run buffer into a crystal nerf.
Except we got it off.
Yeah.
Just don't hit Porn.
Once it's not too soon.
Alright, didn't hit Porn.
Yeah, Cecil's probably the ideal target given the lack of weaponry and the impressive hit point total. Here it comes.
Alright.
Well, it's the first one, right? This one was automatic.
This one's nerfed. Porn taking very little damage there. That life staff giving her some pretty impressive magic.
Mm-hmm.
She might be able to take an unnerfed Big Bang.
Maybe. I mean, an unnerfed Big Bang has either 8 or 9 rolls from between 2 to 300 damage, so no dodges, it crushes her, even a low roll of 1600. So we need a low roll and a dodge or two for her to survive. I would be impressed.
Berserk up on Kane. That's an unfortunately timed shake. Need Porn to get a turn again if we're going to try to nerf before Kane takes his swing. Alright, I think we're going to get it.
It's gonna be close.
Nope.
Yeah, Slow's got a delay on it, and that might have been what gave Big Bang time to get in the queue.
Worm decided to dodge absolutely none of that and attempt to tank it all with her face.
Yeah, that might have been no dodges. Like, I need a quick look at her stats screen to see where that's happening. But yeah. So back when you were asking me, what do you want for a character? And my answer was always Rosa. This is not the first time I've personally had to deal with a Z fight like this, and it can be rough.
Yeah, Charlie got 2 altars down too in the time that David spent taking out his Zeromus fight. If David doesn't get it in this one, Charlie may have the time to catch up, and his Z fight will be significantly smoother and faster.
Yeah. And we talked about this tension at the very beginning of the race, though we were thinking more about the moon altars, but it applies to the Z fight as well. Reckless Charlie took a little more time on Earth, found 10 key items as a result, and probably by the time he gets his crystal, we'll have a much, much more reasonable Z fight.
Most Z fights that don't involve Poison Axe Cecil are more reasonable than Z fights that involve Poison Axe Cecil.
Yes, that is not a phrase that one associates with a reasonable Z fight.
Alright, so David about to start round 2. And Charlie is about to go make his save on the bottom of the moon and probably go straight into the White Spear just because it's closer. He did a grind,
Maybe.
so the XP isn't necessarily a the
Yeah,
primary.
I think
motivator
ribbon
here.
for the 200. Nope, I'm wrong.
Yeah, we're gonna use some coffins and try to cast some stones and get through these dark imps. Very rude. No hourglass is required.
And yeah, this is a heelless Z fight. When we get to Charlie's side, Charlie's just gonna go for straight triple nukes and call it a day. And you know, you lower the battle speed to 3 and just set up. Nice, and you should be able to get through that without seeing anything other than the initial nerf Big Bang.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if Charlie even saw the second shake. Speaking of shakes, David saw the first one and got his nerf off. Covered edge, which is good. Waiting for that nerf Big Bag to come out. There it is. Have a good nap, Alan.
Yeah, that's no dodges. That's over 900 on a nerf Big Bang. That means no dodges. Betrayal.
Lydia playing the role of Kane and betraying the party.
It's the back row, the nukes come on, and Charlie says, you know what?
You know what? I got two altars to check.
Better things
I'm just gonna.
my
Yeah.
time. Wow.
With his party setup, I don't know that he's gonna do the CPU though.
Yeah.
Although maybe you just triple media. Swing with it. Oh, you're getting those media screwed up. Oh yeah, come swing out media. It does not have rocks yet.
Yeah, it takes a really long time to pick up rocks.
Absolutely overkilling that defender.
I'm gonna reflect nukes here and just eat the globes. Is that the plan? I see a veil.
Ooh, unfortunate. Horn taking the counter nuke and dying. However, we got the nerf off this time.
Oh no, it's a veil for float strats. We talked about float strats, and it hits.
Got the float strats.
Nice.
Well done, Charlie.
There we go. Now, just shake it up.
What's nice about getting that float is now, if you're Charlie, you can just skip that wyvern and go check out the Crystal Sword altar, because whatever is there is almost certainly going to be faster than slogging through that wyvern. There's a shake. I think David is in trouble again.
Cecil could stand up to it.
He could. I've had a Z fight where Cecil dodged 4 meteors and finished the fight before. It's happened.
Those are so stressful.
Okay. Still not living through a meteor, unfortunately.
There's our black hole.
Reset.
And resets out. Not gonna try and recover from there, that's fair.
Yeah, that's very frustrating because if that counter nuke on the second nerf goes to anyone else, I think David was through that fight.
Yeah.
Looks like they have a plan to go do something else, though, instead of just trying that again.
Yeah, but that is the danger of nerf strats, is you don't know where that counter nuke's gonna go. Might be buying life potions. Might be buying sirens.
Oh, that's fair. He doesn't have life potions. I had forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Because my thought when the black hole came out was, oh great, Cecil will take another swing and then he can life potion pour him, and then you have discount power couple strats for the rest of the Z fight.
That's about what you've got going for you at that point.
But without life potions, that is not an option.
Okay, so to the armor. No, okay. There we go. To the item shop.
Sure, not a life potion. Well, 33% of the time, it's a life potion.
But in the meantime, Charlie rocking his way through that CPU, gonna head up to the crystal sword altar, says no to the wyvern.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I mean, we have Starveils, we have nukes. We can get through that wyvern reflecting those, but I would rather just go and see if we can just absolutely microwave whatever is here. And there's those life bots. They were in.
There we go.
Troya the whole time.
10 gets the job done. Does David have a pass? No, David's just
Might be looking for a silk web too while he's here.
Yeah.
John Burkhead in chat pointing out he's probably looking for silk webs.
Vampires.
Yeah. Not sure what the plan is with those, but I am intrigued.
And yes, you're correct, Ribbon. Quest pass wasn't Luca, so yeah, no way David has that. So, about that crystal sword altar.
Yeah, this is definitely not the fight you want to see here, but I would rather do this than that wyvern, because the HP here is way less.
And Reckless Charlie, showing off some good tech here for this Ogo. A lot of people know that hitting Ogo with black magic is going to result in Blaze, and it's going to be terrible for you. But reflected spells don't trigger counter scripts. That's used in a lot of places, and Ogo can be one of them.
We have the spoon to throw too on Charlie's side, so this Ogo is about to go down. GG Ogopogo, GG.
And that will be Reckless Charlie's crystal. And we are just now having our first finish, a little bit ago, our first finish off-stream, Funnel Cakes, finishing in first place with a time of 1:18.16. GG.
Yeah, GG to Funnel Cakes, well played. Still here to determine who our winner on restream is, though.
Yes.
I think we're going to have possibly a dueling Z fight. They're very close to it.
It's going to be, yes. But, Charlie's going to have the faster Z fight.
Yeah, David about 10 tiles behind in the walk, but Charlie's probably going to take a safety save, which will catch him back up.
Save. And there's a save.
Swapping edge to
also,
the first spot to get Starveil off.
Yeah, but David also has his party and set up exactly where he wants it, and Charlie's going at this for the first time, so needs to set battle speed and shift people around.
Alright, let's do this. Third time's the charm for David. Charlie should not have too many problems with this fight. He's got the levels, he's got the microwaves.
You're right, Cubs. It is 13. Pretty sure. Dwarf Axe will get you to 8.
While we're watching this walk down the LST, JMac, the Librarian, finishing in second place. About 4 minutes behind Funnel Cakes. GG to JMac.
122.23. Here we go.
The party variance is very interesting too. Between these two runners, it'd be interesting to see what parties Funnel Cakes and JMac took to fight some of these two.
I agree with Fiery Blizzard's speculation. JMac probably utilized Rydia.
Probably.
JMac's a big Rydia fan.
Probably a similar party to what Charlie has going on. If you're gonna level Rydia, you might as well level Al. Crystal going out on Charlie's side, getting that Starveil queued up on edge.
Starveil on Porum. We've got multiple Veils, yeah. I think it was called in chat. We might be going 1200 strats here.
Yeah, that does seem to be what we're doing. It's an interesting change of pace. I mean, if the Berserk strat isn't getting you there.
Right. As long as you've got enough Veils. 4 still, so we'll see. I'm not well versed in 1200. It's not something I do often, so I can't. So I really don't know about the Veil requirement.
Maybe more than 12, but depending on how quickly you can input your actions and how many other sources of damage you have, it might be enough. What Kivit is basically trying to do is with everyone above 1200 HP, you can't die to a nerfed Big Bang. And since you're constantly proccing...
Yeah, but the issue is that, as chat's pointing out, I don't know if the crystal is what removes the buffs or the shakes. But either way, veiling up early is going to cause you problems.
Oh, yes, you do have to use all your Starveils after using your crystal.
Yeah. And
Bluff, though, notably persists through using your crystal, but other buffs do not.
yes, buffs are clear. Hey, JMac, thank you for the raid, and congratulations on your second place finish. Well done. Come on in and cheer your fellow puffs on.
Charlie taking his only Big Bang of the fight, very likely. Haven't been counting, but I think we are pretty close to done here. Those nukes are flying fast and furious.
They're just straight up reflect strats. Put a wall up, and with 3 nukes, it's ideal. Like, oftentimes you have nuke white, and it's still good enough to get through, but 3 nukes is the dream. It's nukes a faster spell, and typically will hit for more damage than your typical white cast.
Yeah, very notably, the cast time would be much, much, much faster.
And Dave is going to power up a little more.
Alright, should be the lethal nuke in the air from Fu.
Hair dryers is a nice grab. It's
And
not
there it is.
even without a. Oh, sorry. Well done, Reckless Charlie, taking down Zeromus, finishing in 4th place with an official time of 1:26.18. Escrunt was our 3rd place finisher at 1:25.19. GG to you both. And we'll see if Reckless Charlie will come in and join us for an interview.
Deep boop in my ears makes you think Charlie has joined us in the booth. Charlie, you here?
That I am.
GG's, my friend. Well played.
Much appreciated. It was a heck of a seed for sure. I knew kind of going in, like mages was the direction I wanted to go in.
Well, it's good that you found what you're looking for. But so that I take it then that was the reason for a lot of your checks, why you chased a lot of things that held characters, Zot for instance?
So the Zot play was kind of a gamble. I joke around that Zot is probably the worst check. I knew that I was fading Mysidia still, and I was kind of fishing for a Fu or another Palomaridia. Loosely, yeah. But generally, like, if I'm not going to do this now, then I'm probably never going to do it. And if I randomly spike the darkness here, then sure, why not? And once that came up with just a complete dud with yet another edge, he was definitely very edgy. I felt kind of behind. I felt like I had to start doing kind of the off checks that aren't necessarily like the traditional, okay, go ahead, do both spots of the tower, do Luca immediately, etc. So I felt the need to kind of do things a little bit off the standard path.
Yeah, that had sort of been my thought watching you play through this was that, you had done Zot, not really found anything, and decided to sort of double down on those oft-skipped checks over doing that tower key that had been sitting in your inventory for a while. And it certainly could have paid off. Unfortunately, it didn't entirely this time, but you did end up with a much smoother Z fight than David on Restream.
With the lack of gear, largely, outside of ninja gear that's readily available, at least more often than not, you can find at least a ninja sword in a chest or in a shop, and then of course Spoonward. Zerkers are kind of hard to pull off. Well, Yang, I suppose, as well. Zerkers are kind of hard to pull off, at least I think. So, just wanted to find mages, get Reflect set up somehow, and just get to nuke on everybody and just plow through the moon.
Yeah, and it meant you were committing to a little bit longer setup time, as opposed to the strategy some like for just rushing the moon and trying to get through. But it definitely paid off, being able to march through the checks one by one.
Yeah, the Ogo was definitely a little bit of a... Both the Ogo and the Wyvern were just huge, kind of heavy breathing noises moments.
I'm sorry, but that Wyvern was...
yeah.
I was very sure when you saw that Wyvern, you were going to turn around.
I was waiting for the Witchburn, and then I saw the Charm, and I saw the nuke come out. I'm like, yeah, we're doing this probably never. And thankfully, the float reflected to the right target on the CPU, and that definitely broke my way, because that could also just be just pure heck and fluff otherwise. So overall, I felt like, yeah, I did some things kind of through the seed that were not optimal for sure, and my lead time getting out there was good, but overall, like, there's definitely lessons I could take from this, and thankful to have run it.
I mean, I think you ran the suit very well. It just, rando, and it was that tower key the whole time. But, you had an extremely clean Z fight. So, your sort of thoroughness in checking all that stuff to get the party you wanted, get your 10 key items, in some ways it did really pay off.
Yeah, for sure. Just having nothing but a rune axe for Cecil, and a low HP Spoonward, and Edge was pretty well kitted out. And yeah, Fu, you'll get Fu a lot of the times based off kind of standard routing, so to speak. Yeah, you can kind of get through, but it would not be pleasant.
Yeah, definitely. Commander, do you have any other questions for Mr. Reckless Charlie, our fourth place finisher?
Did you recognize the harp song? I didn't recognize the harp song.
Yeah, I didn't recognize the harp song either. Do you know what it was, Charlie?
I'll catch it in post.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. That's all I've got. Congratulations on coming into this with a plan and executing it well. GG.
Thank you both, Commander and Swords, for the comms. Thanks, Cubs, for the lovely seed. Thanks, Tybalt and Tybalt, for the tracking. And you folks take care and have a great evening.
See ya.
is our 4th place finisher, Reckless Charlie. During the interview, we have some other finishers come in. Ultros Professional finished in 5th with a time of 1:28.50. And Armitage, also known as Largefather, finished in 6th with a 1:31.24. And GG to you both. And GG to all the puffs that have just shown up and given the seed a shot. This is how you learn. Whether you're on Restream or not, watch the VOD, watch the commentary from Sorbs and I and what was said in chat. There's, like, of all of the leagues, this one is most focused on teaching the newer people how to play and enjoy free enterprise. Osco's done a great job with this. It's now 3 seasons strong. So come on by and see what happened.
Yeah, unrelated, if you see any of us streaming free enterprise, feel free to stop by and ask questions. None of us bite. We all love to talk about this game. Shout outs to my co-commentator Commander Leonhardt and Cubs Rule again on comms, tracking rather. I'm on comms, and Tibble for doing the tracking.
And a shout out to you, Sorbius, as well, rocking the beard. And it was Xenoblade Colony 6 Silenced. That was the harp song.
Not quite Xenogears, but pretty close.
Yeah. Something Xeno. But in the meantime, David is determined.
I like this determination. He's picked up some additional sirens.
Knocked out some Eblin trap chests, probably hoping for some loot in addition to the XP. But David says, I'm taking this Z down.
Yeah, he is not going home until he sees that Zeromus crumble. eNinja81 finishing in 7th place. In the meantime, a time of 1:34.32.
GG, Ninja.
What I'm wondering is what these sirens are being used on. They were not used on eggs.
Oh, I think there are 2 possibilities. One, the tactical. Some gold dragons. You could use them on the floor that David just left, or on the floor just before you get to the ribbon room. Or the meme possibility, Fiery Blizzard knows what I'm thinking. There's a room where if you use the sirens, you can summon pink puffs.
That is a fair point. I was thinking warlocks or gold dragons, but pink puffs is also a thing.
Warlocks is a legit option.
We have a mute.
This
multi-tiered warlocks.
This multi-tiered structure here that David is wandering through is where you can summon warlocks if you've still got the mute knives. And Fiery Blizzard, this party dealing with pink puffs, at least it's not Reckless Charlie's party.
I had a bad time with some pink puffs.
I know, it looks like it's right here for gold dragons.
Yep.
For those that are wondering, the floor that we just left, where you head down the stairs to come here, if instead of going down those stairs, you walk past and head over to the pink puff room, the room over there is the pink puff room. There's one chest in it, and that's where if you use a siren, you will summon 5 pink puffs.
He will play for you the song of your people, and make you berserk.
Yes. It will suggest a dance, and everybody will go berserk.
If you are extremely lucky, to Fiery Blizzard's point, you can get Adamant armor.
Yes, even if no adamants are on, the pink puffs might just drop you an adamant armor. Such a thing has not been seen on Restream. Scala has threatened that if we ever see such a thing on Restream, we've hit peak and we're done. No more.
Yeah, definitely don't want to be done, so I hope we don't find that.
Right?
On the other hand, it would be very exciting.
Yes.
It could happen if people took pink puffs more often, because we have seen curse rings drop on ordeals several times in Restream. Of course, that is a spot where a lot more random encounters are taken in the normal courses of racing, but it is about the same chance as getting it out of an armor off.
Yeah. I don't think you need the rarest of encounters to get it in the first place is what's slowing me down. Bell's Rules pointing out that we did have a rare Avenger drop from a behemoth in his EZ4 race, and you don't see that many behemoths. So, it's fair.
Yeah, behemoths drop some really good gear. Avenger Sword, Power Shirt, headbands.
I've done some cataseeds where my way through was to fight imps outside of Baron until one of them gave me an hourglass, which is also a rare drop.
Yeah.
They will drop hourglasses eventually.
Maybe, if you're nice.
You might get one as a treat.
You're picking away at these dragons.
Yeah, trying to get better hit point numbers on Porum. It's really what it is. Just get to the point where Porum can survive the big bangs and she can just heal the party up. It'd also be nice to increase the damage output with levels on the rest of the party so that we just don't have to deal with as many big bangs.
Yeah, of note, these dragons do have a solid amount of physical defense. I think if I was in this situation and decided to do this grind, I would have done the Warlocks, just because we have the Mute Knife and I should be able to just one-shot them. But you have to do less fights with the dragons, so I mean, there's sort of a give and take there.
Yeah, just a matter of what you like best. We have had some other finishers in the meantime. Karant finishing in 9th place at 137.20. Soapbox Gamer in 10th with a 137.52. Gemini in 11th at 138.20. And Lewiston Churchill at 12th with 138.57. GG's to all the finishing puffs.
Absolutely.
And to all the puffs. You're all heckin' awesome. Whether you made it out here for this race, whether you're watching in the chat, whether you're watching the VOD afterwards to pick up the tips, you are all heckin' awesome.
Cecil having a rough day.
Yeah. Might be the worst week of his life. Small shout out to the Perspective Club.
I did not catch that race this week.
It wasn't Cecil this week, but yeah. I think I've still got to run that one actually. It's Tella this time. Yeah, for those of you in chat that have no idea what Sorbius and I are talking about, it is club season. Pink Puff is definitely the longest running of the active clubs. There are a lot of other clubs hanging out. There's something for everyone. Some of them are restreamed here and are live races. Some of them are asyncs that you can just hop into and finish when you've got the time, and you don't even have to stream it. So take a look in the Discord. There's a lot of stuff going on, and if you're new, just speak up and people will be more than happy to point you in the right direction.
Also, related to Discord, we have a ladder for competitive racing, if that's something we want to get into. It's something I enjoy quite a bit. Some of the puffs even get in on the action. It's a lot of fun. You get a lot of experience racing against different people in the community, and get to see different flag sets, stuff that's usually a little bit different from the clubs that you can community racing.
Yeah, several different flag sets and races just hiring round the clock. So whatever time works for you. If you just take a look at the schedule there, they've got it posted, let you know when each flag set is running and see what you can hop in for. There's a lot of ways to have fun with this here within the community, and just go with what works for you.
to get form over 1800 HP. I'm curious if that's enough for David, if he's just going to do these 10 sirens, because he bought 10 sirens.
Welcome on in, Soapbox Gamer and friends. GG to Soapbox Gamer on your finish. Come on in and cheer David on.
Alright, Dragon down. Another 90k XP in the tank. Probably 1820 HP on Forum now.
1842, yeah, these are good.
Alright, here we go.
You're guaranteed to survive an unnerfed Big Bang, well, the 8-roll variety anyway, if you get 2 dodges. And even if you only get 1 dodge, you're going to need a high roll to knock her down. That's a much happier number.
Also potential to survive a counter nuke if you don't get max rolled and fail all of your dodges.
True. And Current also coming on in. Congratulations on your finish as well.
Alright, walk back down to Zeromus. As I mentioned previously, not this floor, the next floor, there's a siren, Fight of Breath, if you're really desperate for some free experience.
Oh, the breath is the siren encounter here?
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea.
Absolutely completely free as long as you don't cast magic on them and have a lot of time to kill. A Crystal Sword Cecil hits them for about 2,000.
You know, I have never cast magic on breath. Never occurred to me.
Don't.
What do they do?
They counter with a party-wide weak, I think?
Okay. I just sit there and watch them go
They might
peep,
nuke you. It's not good. Whatever it is. You just don't want to do it.
They just go peep, 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 and then reporting to Zeromus, and I'm like, so, like, what did you tell him? Is he changing his tactics any? I don't believe it. I don't believe this actually matters. I don't get it. But thanks for the XP.
Yeah, in the vanilla, it's definitely like, well, thanks for the experience, I guess.
Right? And then there's mine, where you just run. Just run. If you thought that wyvern was fun, oh my. I got a story for you.
How would you like to be constantly charmed? Alright, we have Crystal Zeromus queued up our Berserk. We're ready to rock and roll on this Zeromus attempt. Alright, Edge gained a little bit of damage. I'm curious to see what Cecil's hitting for now with double the golden waters.
$1,900 without Berserk.
Yeah, it's a little bit better.
Yeah, a little bit. Vampire for the nerf. Cecil's probably the... Yeah,
Cecil or Kane are the targets you want. His edge is your damage. You have to think about him maybe dying.
Yeah, you'd also accept Powell, because honestly, he's done.
Looks like we're getting about 6,000 around, which is a solid amount of damage.
If you're coming back to watch this now, David, just want to say kudos for the earlier Z attempts. That is a party that I don't think I would have the nerve to go after Z with. And a couple of things, like one counter nuke goes differently for you, you might well have pulled it off. So I tip my hat to you on the
Form
attempt.
didn't eat that counter nuke. I think you were through. So, but I applaud, like Commander said, I applaud your stick-with-itness and your stubborn refusal to yield to this Zeromus. So,
yeah. And also being able to accept that, okay, we're just going to step back from this. I'm not going to beat my head against the wall anymore. I'm going to wander down to Earth, get my life potions, maybe try and find some loot and some levels, and come back and get this done. I mean, not just persistence, but also still keeping your head working on the puzzle at hand.
Yeah, we've about doubled Cess's damage from those previous attempts with the extra levels, so having a much, much better time. Don't hit for him. Alright, we're basically through at this point.
Counter nuke to Kane on the slow cast.
To the big bang after Cecil's swing.
Might have gotten a tip.
Yeah, that might have been a fake shake.
Yeah, I think the damage was enough to push through. And the benefits of those levels coming through, not just in hit points for Porum.
I tried to count, but then I lost count, so I wasn't sure.
I made no attempt to count. Like, I don't mind counting damage on a Mylon Z fight, but I can't remember the last time I counted damage for Z.
Oh, I always count my damage on Zeromus.
That's useful. You can, cut off direct damage right before the refill and
Or
shift
know
over
when
to
a
reflect.
shake might be a fake shake, or when you might tip in the meteor and get to dodge a second or third, in this case, Big Bang, potentially. Alright, Porum not being a nuke magnet this time.
Yeah,
Edge
even
taking
if this
that
is
wasn't
nerfed,
great.
a high roll could drop edge here. But that's not the end of the world.
Well, even if this doesn't, you might be going pretty quickly into rocks, which will definitely kill Edge if it hits it. Alright,
Yeah, it looks like we got at least one dodge out of edge there. So we're good.
We got the Cure 4 and a Q, so we should be good before Zeromus does anything else. Oh, we're not.
Oh, but we've got the ultimate wombo. Oh, at least it was a nerf big bag. Oh, but we get a dodge out of edge.
Alright.
Tier 4 comes in, and now just time to clean up.
I really wanted Poison Axe Cecil to get the kill.
Pour a bonk! Pour a bonk! Oh, it goes to Kane.
Yeah, goes to Kane. The ultimate betrayal, stealing the mean kill from Cecil.
G. David B. finishing in 13th place with 149.59, sniping Heart Gamer, who finished with 150 even. GG's to you both. See if David comes on in for an interview after that heckin' seed.
Fucking fluff of the seed, for sure.
Oh boy. Oof.
I hear a beep in my headset. David, are you in here with the chat with us?
Alright, I think, can you hear me?
Yes, you're
There we
good.
go.
Alright, just let me turn you guys up. Alright. Hello.
Hello.
A seed for me at the end,
It was.
say the least.
Yeah, we were talking pretty much from the beginning of the broadcast how the flag set's designed to give you that initial tension, and once you find the darkness, do you run for the moon as you are, or do you power up first? And you made the aggressive play to go after the moon as you were, and to go after Z as you were, and you almost got it.
Yeah, okay, this is my perspective at least. I think that it was a conglomerate of things that kind of went wrong, that amounted to me having to do Z in very less than stellar conditions. So, first off, the Porum instead of the Rosa for the lower HP pool obviously made it so I couldn't take a nuke, which is why I wiped the second time. The not having silk webs and having to nerf that first time with the crystal and not getting off a slow until the second rotation, I think also very much hurt. I think I might have been able to get through that second time even after the Porum wipe if the slow was applied. Not having Bacchus Wines to have everybody berserked up immediately and having to berserk cast everybody and not having any good weapons for Cecil or Kane, so that they were basically on nothing. I think that is. I think if any of those 4 things, if just one of them was different, I think I'd get through on that second try. The first try was just me. I was just dumb and missequenced my turns, and obviously I just had to take the L on that one. But the second time, I think if one of those 4 things was different, then I'm able to get through. But I think all 4 of those things was standing. I just couldn't do it, so I didn't want to try to bash my head. Well, that's not quite true. I think I can do it, as I was when I went in, if Porum dodges every single counter nuke, but I didn't want to play those odds at the very end and try to secure a Z win. And so my initial thought process is go back down to Earth, and if I'm trying to change one of those things, the quickest thing to change is the Silk Webs, so just check the shops. I found life potions, which would be decent, and vampires, that was my literal first attempt at 1200 strats. I thought I could do it in theory. I did not realize Star Veils fall off after Z changes. So that's one for the knowledge books. So after I failed that once, I decided I would not do a second attempt, and so I went back down, and the second quickest thing that I could try to change was my weapon situation, so I did a quick loot of Evelyn. I very much thought, because, the 5th thing, there was one other thing that would have changed, is that if I found another Black Mage, I could have just not anchored Porum, and not anchored Palom, sorry, gotten rid of either of the melee characters and just kept them down as an anchor, and then had, reflect strats for Z. I thought that would be out of the question at that point, because I wasn't going to go through Tower of Zot to try to change my party and then do another massive grind to get them leveled for Z. So I thought after that, the best thing I could do is just take a couple gold dragons on the moon with the sirens and the hourglasses that I knew where they were to get Porum levels to survive a nuke. And then it never ended up mattering on that last one, but the levels also helped to give everybody else the power we needed to get through anyway. So I got through at the very least.
You absolutely did. And to your point, I think you're right on that second attempt. If Porum doesn't eat that counter nuke, you were probably through.
Yeah, I didn't want to go through again and just pray to dodge the counter nuke again, especially because I think that my Zerkers were so weak at that point that I was probably going to have to dodge 2 more counter nukes probably. And I just didn't want to play those odds.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. I mean, you had Cecil hitting for hundreds of damage. Literally
Yeah.
hundreds.
it was a rough thing, to be sure. So, yeah. Just a lot of things about a seat. It's just, the routing decisions you make will often create very different approaches to the fight. If you go back and watch the restream, you'll see Reckless Charlie knocking out a lot more checks, finding Iridia and Zot, and finding a Fu in Dwarf Castle, and just going in with that triple nuke that you were considering.
Yeah.
But he was still running a lot of those checks when you were charging down the moon. If you get through on that second fight, then you finish out in front of him.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I saw on the restream, when I was going back to Earth that first time to try to get more power, nobody had even finished yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with hindsight being what it is, I think the correct play to me in my position would have just been buy 5 more sirens than I did, to just try to get Porum to the HP to survive 1 nuke, but live and learn. So.
And you had the moxie there to go in and be like, I can nerf these. Not worried about missing a nerf. It's not a thing everyone can say. I tried to nerf earlier today and still missed a couple.
Yeah, I thankfully Possum Orpheus to help with that. I caught several of his streams and kind of learning the timings of things like nerfing the Kinazo waves and nerfing Z. Zerkers helps too, being able to just kind of no, I've got these 2 Zerkers. I'm going to wait for the shake, and then 2 Zerker hits, and then I'm probably good.
Yeah, it lets you kind of visualize the ATB going by, which is something you don't have as an option when you're doing reflex strats.
Yeah. Well, at least other than Z, I'm pretty happy with the way that I played that. Up to Z and the preparations withstanding, I think that I routed pretty well and I played pretty decently, other than a couple minor mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, you took a very aggressive line in the seed, and it went really, really well for you right until it didn't. But yeah, you were way ahead for most of that seed.
Yeah, and props also because it was a rude moon, even with your 1 mulligan. I mean, let's consider Wyvern with Charm at the Ribbon Room, grindy CPU at Masamune Altar. You took both of those, and thus never saw an angry Ogopogo hanging out at the Crystal Sword Altar. I mean, come on, Lunar.
Oh god, if I had wiped to Wyvern the second time, I was gonna go to Crystal Sword. So I'm glad I didn't now.
Right? Angry Ogle.
Yeah, the nopest of noodles.
Yeah, definitely a good training seed for you puffs.
Yeah.
You have any more questions, Sorbius?
No. No, I'm good.
And anything else you want to say about the scene, David?
No more thoughts from me.
Well, GG on your finish. Looking forward to seeing more of you the rest of the Pink Puff season and with whatever else you're up to in Free Enterprise.
Well, thank you very much. Look forward to being here.
That was our 13th overall, but A+ for persistence and resourcefulness, David. That is going to do it for our race tonight, but we are not done with Free Enterprise for the night. We are going to send you all off on a raid to Noob Tree. Noob Tree is currently running this race, so when we get there, do not spoil the race. We will bonk you. But definitely cheer Noob Tree on with this angry hecking moon. Ugh. And once again, thanks Sorbius for being in the booth with me. Tybalt, pawn tracking, Cubs rules on the restream. Great job, everyone.
Thank you, Commander, for also being in the booth. It's been a good time. I had a great time watching this race and talking about it.
Same.